Good evening, everybody. We are talking GM rumors. We're talking head coach rumors. We're going to give our opinions on what is happening, what we think the Jets are going to do. And of course, right now, Aaron Glenn is getting smoked on national television. I always feel like that intro music is too loud. Do you?
No, not at all.
Really?
Yeah, mine's a little loud. I edited post-editing, but besides that, it's fine.
All right.
I love the intro. Love the intro.
I do too, but sometimes it plays and it's like blasting in my ears. I'm like, I don't know what that's like.
Gotta find a way to edit that thing.
All right, so the Titans hired Mike Borgonzi. We haven't brought a single person back for a second round interview, and it feels like we're spinning our wheels, and it feels like we're wasting our time. I think from most people's perspectives, the Borgonzi was the number one candidate, right?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So I don't know why they are dragging their feet. I mean, what could... Okay, so I have the list here, right? They have... This may be a few days old, but I'm not sure. But I got 13 people on my list so far that they have interviewed, right?
Jeez.
Dimitrov, John Robinson, Jim Nagy, Louis Riddick, Alec Hallaby, Borgonzi, Ray Farmer, Mike Greenberg, Darren Moogie, Lance Newmark, Trey Brown, Chris Spielman, Ryan Grigson, and that's the last one on my list here. But it may be...
Did they interview Sullivan? Did you say Sullivan?
Right. So that's not on this list, but they did interview him. That's John Eric Sullivan.
Yeah, from the Packers.
Interesting thing with John Eric Sullivan. So after he interviewed with us, Brian Gutekunst of the Packers was basically saying he's gone, saying that he wishes he could bring it back, but he wished he could bring him back, but like he wishes him the best of luck in some sort of press conference, and everybody's reading into that, saying that the Jets are going to hire him. I don't know.
Why wouldn't they already have?
So you had his history up, right? Before, you want to read off a little bit about him?
He's been with the Packers, I believe, since 2022. He was the director of player development. Before that, he was with them for 4 years, I believe, as the assistant director, something like that. I X'd out of it, but he's been with them, I believe, since 2018 in an executive role with them. He's more of a player development guy. He's not a cap guy. You know, some GMs we always hear they're either cap guys or player guys. He's a player guy. I assume he was involved heavily in drafting Jordan Love, which probably gives you a little bit of peace because he knows how to find those diamonds. You know, a lot of people said when they went up and got him in the first round that it was a reach. He wasn't a first round pick, but how's that looking out now? So, and the Packers have been very successful over the last decade. Let's be real. They've gotten a lot of talent out there. They're always in it, you know. So you're picking off a good tree. But we thought the same thing with Joe Douglas. At the end of the day, Pat, we could say, oh, Borgonzi this. We don't know what Borgonzi's going to be. Yep. We just don't, because
we don't know what any of these guys are going to be.
Right. Joe Douglas was supposed to be the no doubt hot candidate that we were bringing in. And turns out, Paul always reiterates that one stat. There's like 175 general managers that were given at least 5 years or 4 years in National Football League. And win percentage wise, he is third to last. Like, he is amongst, god awful. If god awful was a name, it'd be Joe Douglas.
So another name that I keep seeing is Mike Greenberg. Obviously not the Mike Greenberg that's on television.
Although he would take the job.
He would take the job in a second. But Mike Greenberg from Tampa Bay. And there's so many people on Twitter that so-and-so have a source and like to feed things into the Twitter community. And Mike Greenberg apparently is getting a lot of love from these, quote, sources. Greenberg and Glenn is who I keep seeing as the GM head coach combo. He's a Long Island guy. Apparently he is a big Jets fan. growing up. I don't know. Again, he was an intern with us. I think it says here from 2008 to 2009. Originally joining the Bucks as a personal assistant in 2010, and he's their assistant GM.
Mm-hmm.
But again, in Tampa, like, what do you have to stand on, really? What big quarterback have you drafted and developed? You really haven't.
Right. It
You
would
know?
almost be like you grab him in hopes of securing Liam Cohn. You know what I mean? That's kind of like, that's where I would get that from, because I would love him. But was he another one of those that declined to interview with us? Do we know?
We don't have a word on it. We know that they reached. We know that he reached out, but as far as we know, there hasn't been a response. So, either he hasn't responded, or he's told the Jets to go take a hike. Which I'm not surprised. I mean, Ben Johnson did that. We're pretty sure Cliff Kingsbury has done that, even though there's no official word.
Well, didn't Cliff just announce was it today I saw? I think it was credible. I'll look it up. He announced that he plans on returning to Washington next year. He's not looking to take a job.
Okay. We're going to find something out pretty soon, I think, this week, because this Commanders-Lions game that's going on right now is going to shake somebody loose. Right? It's either going to be Cliff Kingsbury is going to be available to hire, or Aaron Glenn is going to be available to hire. And from the perspective of Aaron Glenn, everybody wants him. And I get it, but he's obviously getting smoked right now. And you don't want to take a single game and extrapolate that out to an entire career. I mean, everybody did that with Zach Wilson. I feel like they would take anecdotal things here and pull that out to a whole career. But
so we have this is from Sports Illustrated report. So he's delaying interviews. So now I remember what it says.
Okay.
If you scroll down here, per source with knowledge of the situation, Kingsbury has decided to wait until the Commander season ends to interview with any interested teams. He's still being paid into 2026 like a head coach by the Cardinals, so there is no financial urgency for him to become. Which, when you think about that, maybe the Jets really like him. Could that be a possibility that they really like him? And maybe, because let's be honest, Pat, there's a lot of back doors when it comes to coaching. There always is. So it's, who's to say that the Jets don't have an in with him somewhere? I mean, I will say this. A lot of people like Aaron Glenn. I actually think he might make a solid head coach, but we were in Spaces the other day, and good argument's been made. I think over the past 15 years, something like 85 or 90% of the coaches that win the Super Bowl are offensive. I mean, Andy Reid,
I saw that.
All those guys, and it's like, maybe there's something to that. Where,
but even if you wasn't it though, like if you took Belichick out of the equation as like an outlier, it drops to like 60%. So it wasn't that bad.
Well, Belichick's because he's defensive.
Yeah,
it'd be worse. It'd be worse if you took him out. He's him and Tomlin are the only defensive.
Oh, you're right. I have it wrong. You're right.
Yeah, it'd be worse. It'd be 100%. I mean, you have Pete Carroll won once. You have Belichick. You have Tomlin from forever ago. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a chance. I mean, odds are I can't believe Washington's up 10 right now. But think about this. You think Aaron Glenn's stock dropped it all today, allowing 31 points in the first half? I guess it'll depend on how this game finishes out. If they hold him to 31.
I don't think his stock is going to draft that much. I mean, you had a pick 6 here by Goff. And there's so many guys hurt.
He just threw another pick right before the half. He threw one in the end zone.
Yep. Look, I don't think it's going to really drop Aaron Glenn's stock that much, because he is kind of working with like half a roster almost on the defense. So, you can have people that make both arguments. You can have people that are going to say, well, he's a terrible coach. You can have people that are going to rationalize it. But at the end of the day, though, at the end of the day, he's going to have to, if it is him, he's going to have to be the coach of the entire team, not just the defense. And his success or his demise is going to depend on who the offensive coordinator is.
And that's what sucks. Let's be honest, because if Kyle Shanahan loses a defensive coordinator, think about it. Salah's going back there again. It's way easier to replace a defensive coordinator.
Not only is he
Atlanta
going
loses,
back there, they are going to pay. They are apparently going to make him the highest paid defensive
he's going to be
coordinator.
paid like a head coach. You're going to have that.
And Ulbrich just went to back to the Falcons.
Exactly, but that's the point. If you actually look, the more successful outside, you have Sean McDermott, you obviously have Dan Campbell, and you have the head coach of Washington. I can't believe his name's what guy who went to the Super Bowl. What's his name? I can't believe it's escaping me. Washington's head coach.
Oh,
I can't.
They're old.
Seattle.
Rivera?
I can't. No, right now.
Oh, right now. Oh. I can't right now. I think of Ron Rivera and Dan
I can't believe I
Quinn.
forgot that Dan Quinn. But
I immediately think Ron Rivera because of the Cam Newton days.
Right, they're both defensive guys. Well, speak about Ron Rivera though. Jets interviewed him. I can, what a disaster that is. We got this from angry Jeff fan. How can Brady be a partial owner and an announcer? It's a conflict of interest. He can. I understand that. I agree with you with that, but he doesn't have any influence on the game. He's in a booth.
Right. The NFL. Look, at the end of the day, the NFL said it's okay. It's okay. And we just got to kind of live with it.
Yeah, Dan Quinn. Thanks, Andy.
What do you think?
Angry. I couldn't.
So, what do you think? So, if it's not going to be Aaron Glenn, I think the number 2 guy is probably Flores. But the dark horse.
We're going to go defense.
The dark horse here that everybody's talking about is Josh McCown.
I prefer him.
There is a history of guys that not being coordinators come right into being head coach. Dan Campbell he was a tight ends coach, if I believe, right into a head coaching role. I don't know though if he's the type.
Andy Reid.
Andy
Reid was a quarterback's coach.
I don't know though if he's the type of guy that can really like a kick-ass guy, someone who could exactly like. I know he's got the.
But we don't
emotion.
know what he's
I know
like behind doors. We don't.
I know. We don't.
And most quarterbacks, let's be real, most quarterbacks very rarely ever alienate the other teammates. I mean, Pat, by the way, did you see what happened in the Kansas City game? The first play of the game, the Texans
fumble. Yeah, 70-yard return, fumbled and recovered.
Yeah, and then the guy goes and shoves his coach. What are you doing? Like, that is Jetsian. They played like the Jets today, the Texans. They should have won that game. And it didn't help that the refs had 2 major 15-yard penalties that should not have been called, but that's to be expected with Kansas City.
Another thing with McCown, I believe it was Schefter on ESPN was saying that McCown will return to the Vikings unless he gets a head coaching job. So, for everybody out there that would like to see like Glenn as the head coach and McCown as the offensive coordinator, apparently that's out of the question. McCown is only leaving, per reports, he's only leaving the Vikings unless he has a head coach job, which I get it. I understand. And for somebody that's been around the league for so long, he must have a lot of connections. And if there's really anybody in this group of coaching candidates that I think I would trust to know if a quarterback has it or not, it would be someone like Josh McCown that's played it his entire career.
You know what you could do?
He should be able, at this point, he should be able to look at just 5 minutes of film of a guy and be able to figure out what's wrong, what needs to be corrected, or if the guy just can't do it.
Well, you know what I'm thinking too, Pat? If we really go to X's and O's, if things, and guys, sorry, I'm also watching the Lion game while we're hanging out.
Yeah, I am too.
If it doesn't work out with McCown, I hate to say you could get rid of him early. But here's the issue. It is a 2 quarterback draft. And we're not going to get any of them. And even if a 3rd quarterback comes out of nowhere, we're still too deep to not get anyone. And we don't have any. Yeah, everyone could keep saying Jordan Travis. There's a reason why he got drafted where he got drafted. It's just plain and simple. And if you're bringing in a new GM, he's not their guy. None of these guys are. You might see guys traded that you didn't expect. Like maybe an Ahmad Sauce Gardner gets moved, or maybe a Garrett Wilson gets moved. It would not totally surprise me.
If they keep Aaron Rodgers and they are paying him in 2026, one of those 2022 guys is not going to be here. They won't be able to pay him. It's that simple. And I don't think a lot of Jet fans are cognizant of that fact. You cannot keep everybody from that 2022 class if Aaron Rodgers is either playing in 20 if he plays for a single dollar in 2025 and then leaves, it is a $35 million cap hit in 26. No matter what, the Jets cannot restructure that money. That is prorated bonus to him. They can't get out of it. It is what it is. They can maybe stretch it out, but now you have someone on your cap for 2 or 3 years down the line, which you don't want to do.
But you can get rid of it right now.
Yes. And I understand the stats and I understand the argument. If you take Patrick Mahomes' stats this season and Aaron Rodgers' stats this season, they are almost identical. They are. But the problem is the deal was designed for a 2-year window. And then the Jets were going to pay for it after that because we had that 2-year window. And it only turned into
Lions.
No, I'm a little behind.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine. So it was designed for a 2-year window. It didn't work. It became a 1-year window. And now you have the money situation. If he didn't cost so much, I would be like, absolutely. Keep Aaron Rodgers on the team. He's the best quarterback you have on the roster by far. By far. And if it doesn't work out, you still have
ramifications, right?
But that is the problem. You have the cap ramifications, you have his salary ramifications, and you just can't do it. You are better off ripping the Band-Aid now, getting rid of guys like him, like Devontae, like Lazard, like Reed. Strip away all of that dead money, eat it all in 1 year, and then have a clean slate in 2026.
Yeah, you got to cut
very
Mosley
likely
too.
You got to cut Mosley. You very likely have a very high draft pick in 26 because you're not expected to compete. But you know what? Knowing this team, knowing this team, they will do all that and still end up somehow with 6 or 7 wins and end up like with the 10th pick again in draft purgatory.
Or worse. That's
every time you want this team to do something, they do the opposite. And I got to stop being negative. It is the offseason. We are the offseason champs. I got to try and stop being so negative.
We got to get a belt.
Hard with this team.
We got to get some type of belt.
Yeah. I had a shirt made up a while ago that said back-to-back champions, but then like in like very tiny font, it said off season right before the champions. It was actually a pretty funny shirt.
We should do those again. We'll put them on the site. I think Glenn is their guy. Actually, no, I think Flores might be their number one. If I actually think about it, I'm assuming. I don't want to give. If
Flores is their number one, then he should have been hired already. If he is their number
I think that they're trying to have a different perspective where it's like, I'm thinking one of these executives that are still on a team that's in it, that's who they're going to be hiring. That's the only benefit of the doubt, unless it is Aaron Glenn and one of those executives. That's the only thing.
But I don't like the idea of like forcing a marriage again and having the head coach and then bringing in the GM.
That's Woody Johnson.
In my ideal world, I would say get the GM. Just hire you hired some good candidates. I don't know who else you're possibly waiting for. Maybe Agnew. I don't know.
Well, somebody asked that question. That was from
but like
Sharon.
Get the GM in here. Right. Get the GM in here and then have him sit in on second round interviews of guys that you've already comfortable with, and then let him make the decision from like a select group of guys. I get that. Unless Glenn is the guy and the Jets are just waiting to hire him. You know, I said this, I think, on our last stream. Like, this whole process will all of a sudden make sense if Aaron Glenn is hired the day after the Lions are eliminated. It all makes sense because then that
could happen tonight.
It could happen tonight. That means you
Tomorrow?
had the agreement with him, and the 33rd team is just interviewing more and more guys. either just to keep busy and bill, or make it seem like they have more candidates when really they just want Glenn.
Right,
And
or
now
they could be
Dallas is in
making a
on
book.
Glenn.
Right. Oh, are they?
Yeah, I saw it today. Dallas wants to interview him. Speaking of Dallas, why isn't Mike McCarthy being interviewed?
Oh, he must not. He might not want the job. Do you think they haven't reached out to him? I'm sure they have. But I mean, I think he wants the Bears job, and I think the Bears want him. Another quarterback he could develop. He's been good with them.
And to think that guy wanted to be here, and we hired Gase.
Yep. And that might have changed Sam Darnold's career.
Speaking of Sam Darnold, the best thing Josh McCown has going for him is that he rehabilitated Sam Darnold.
Right. Well, who do you give credit
terrible.
To that? Do you give it to Kevin O'Connell or do you give it to him?
It's probably both. I mean, Darnold having someone there that he's very comfortable with obviously helped him. You know, that was with him for 2 years. Obviously, they're showing Glenn on TV right now.
Yeah. Let's see if they score. If they score right here, the Lions are in deep.
Listen, this is where you're going to make your money, Aaron. This is where you're going to make your money. What adjustments are you making right now to stop this rookie quarterback?
Oh, there he goes.
You're behind. I'm behind you again.
Oh, I mean, the kid didn't go.
Oh, jeez.
That's what's so great about Jaden Daniels.
I would love to have a mobile quarterback, man.
It's not even a mobile quarterback. It's just he's all around. He could pinpoint the deep throw. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's strong as heck, and he doesn't look to run unless it's an absolute necessary.
This is who Jordan Travis truthers want him to be, and I don't know if he is.
We have this from Ray, or Robert, excuse me. What about Spag? No thanks. Nope. The guy's failed twice. You don't get the third shot.
Look, he's one of those guys that's a great defensive coordinator. He's not a good head coach. Just is what it is.
Yeah, Sharon. Tannenbaum is just interviewing more candidates for free meals provided by Woody. You know what else I think why they're interviewing guys? If and obviously it's probably not going to happen. Let's be real. But if they nail this with the Jets and the Jets make noise over the next couple of years, look at what Washington's doing. They did their search for them, and look at what ended up happening for them. Obviously, they have the second overall pick. You can't do that, but Washington's successful. If the Jets end up being successful at all, which is just being in contention for a playoff spot, other people are going to hire them, and they want to have a book of business.
Not only book of business, they want a library of candidates that they've interviewed before and have notes on. I heard a rumor that somehow, somewhere in the 33rd contract, that the 33rd team owns the video rights to the Zoom interviews.
Oh,
which makes sense.
I guess it makes sense. And why would you need them afterwards?
Right, but it's from a business standpoint.
I'm hiring you, but I'm going to keep all your competitors that I hired you against. I'm just going to keep their videos just in case.
Right, well, it makes sense for them.
Right.
If they can turn around the New York Jets, if they bring in a coaching staff that ends up winning, a Super Bowl for the team, right? The 33rd yard line at MetLife Stadium will be painted gold forever. There'll be a bronze statue of Mike Tannenbaum outside. Oh, my light just went. Whoa. There'll be a bronze statue of Mike Tannenbaum outside of One Jets Drive. I'm telling you, if Tannenbaum pulls this off,
and you know what? We'll start the website to get the funding for it.
I will make the GoFundMe. I
cannot believe they're more. The Lions are shooting themselves in the foot. They're acting like the Jets right now. Daniel's just standing there, and the guy goes up and hits him 15 yards. Unbelievable.
This is what we're talking about, just undisciplined.
I'd be interested to see some of the people that are watching. If you have a favorite, let us know who you would hire to be the coach and why. Because we only hear about the people that we're talking about, and we have our reasons. But I would love to know your guys' reasons if you want to chime in. I'm trying to think. if Glenn was to be hired, who would be on his coaching staff? I'm sure that there's, like there's got to be somebody from the Lions, maybe like a linebackers coach or something. Maybe he'd bring in to be a DC. I'd like to be a veteran staff, especially if we haven't learned anything. Don't forget when we hired Saleh, we hired a first-time DC and a first-time OC, and it was a recipe for disaster. Maybe you could convince Ron Rivera to come in here and run a defense. I don't know if he would be willing to, but I having the rookie thing, I'm not completely sold on. I mean, think about the position we're in, Pat. It's not even next year. We're already hoping to lose next year, get a quarterback, develop him a year, and then go into 27 and be hopeful.
Right.
I mean, that's our issue. And don't forget, guys, Woody Johnson traded away our 3rd-round pick this year and a 3rd-round pick the following year for a half a sack from Hassan Reddick. And we're going to have to find a way to either I don't know what's going to happen with Adams, but if he doesn't restructure, they're going to cut him too. He's going to be an $8 million dead cap hit next year because they're not paying him $35 million. They're just not.
No way. They can't. Why would you pay that much money on a team that is going to likely be going nowhere?
Right.
Man, Washington is just moving the ball.
Yeah, it must be nice,
easily.
Right? I was told Dan Quinn was a bad coach.
Yeah.
I hate the argument. Well, wait till Cliff Kingsbury leaves him. There's a chance he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's already been a failed head coach. I love that. Whenever
Cliff Kingsbury has some resume when you really look at it. The amount of quarterbacks that he has developed.
Can't win. He just cannot win. He
Yeah.
lost with the Cardinals. He lost with Baker Mayfield. He lost with Patrick Mahomes. He lost with Kyler Murray. I mean, he's lost with everybody. But here's the thing. And I know we have friends that are in common. They're like, oh, well, Dan Campbell's an awful head coach. Wait, how's he looking? And they're like, oh, wait till he loses Ben Johnson. I hate that argument. So they've been good for 3 years. If he loses a coordinator, now we start judging him. When does
Listen, the great teams lose coordinators all the time, and they're still great teams.
How many coordinators did Bill Belichick lose over the years? A dozen?
Look at the Ravens.
Right. I think he'll be just fine because you know what? The top candidate's going to want to come in and coach this kid at quarterback. That's why.
Talking about the Ravens, man, if Buffalo wins tomorrow night, they're going straight to the Super Bowl. I don't think that Kansas City is going to be able to stop them.
What's the spread on
that
at game?
All? I have no. Well, we don't know what the Buffalo game.
No, yeah, tomorrow. I'm going to look it up really quick.
I got to look it up.
Oh, you want to know something crazy today?
But the Ravens are kind of our last hope to keep Buffalo out of the Super Bowl.
I wouldn't mind Buffalo. I don't hate Buffalo, which is weird as a Jets fan. I feel like I should have that animosity, but we've just sucked for so long. It's hard to have animosity.
I hate them all. I absolutely hate them all with a burning fire in my gut.
All right, let's see. Tomorrow,
I don't hate the Patriots that much anymore. But
Buffalo's getting 1.5. That's it. It's a pick 'em.
That's it.
It's a pick 'em. And I think there's going to be snow, right? Is the game going to have snow?
Well, we're getting snow on Monday.
Well, no, it's starting tomorrow at noon.
It's starting tomorrow at noon?
I'm pretty sure. Now I got to look. And we're in, eastern Long Island in Suffolk. Precipitation starts 3 p.m., 50%. It's going to rain at first, then it's going to slowly turn over to snow.
Give me Flores' lack of discipline. Lost us many games this year. We need someone with head coaching experience. I get it. I totally get the Flores argument. But after hearing a lot of guys come out and saying that he's a dictator, and that he rubs people the wrong way, and it just, I don't know if that's going to really work, especially in like a New York market. I mean, if he at any point has any sort of argument with like a beat writer, it's going to be all over the news for a week and a half.
Well, what's different? What is different? Flores wins football games. That's all I know. I don't care what happened in Miami. All I know is he's a disciplinarian and he wins football games. That's what I care. And you know what? If we're winning, he could fight with reporters. He could have a bad quote. He could attack the refs. I wouldn't care.
That's
I am
fine, but
so
it could
sick
go
and tired of losing.
it can go so sideways so quickly. I feel like with someone like Flores,
But he's the
I
only one
really
that's
do.
proven out there right now.
He lost the entire locker room in Miami. That's why he was gone.
No, well, I think he was gone for other reasons, but that's neither here or there. The great Aaron Glenn.
Joe
What up,
Cat,
Joe?
the great Aaron Glenn. Listen,
Yeah.
again, you're going to have people that are going to rationalize this game because of injuries, and then you're going to have people that are going to bury Aaron Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
I think the vast body of work for Aaron Glenn is in the positive. He was part of the rebuilding of the culture of all places, the Detroit Lions, that have been atrocious for most of my adult life.
Yep. And they hired the rah-rah guy. Jeff fans were making fun of him. We're going to bite your kneecaps off. You're going to stand up. We're
Guess what?
hit
It
with a
worked.
Billy Club.
4th and 2.
We'll see. Yep. I'm ahead of you. I won't say nothing.
Yeah, don't say a word.
Why are they going for it? How stupid can you be?
Right. It's a playoff game.
Make it a touchdown game.
Are they even going to snap the ball?
Yep. They're going to snap it. Shocker.
I thought you were going to tell me.
I just said they snapped it.
And there it goes.
That's still a
quick.
dumb move. Very dumb move.
That is the benefit of having a running quarterback.
You make it a 6-point game. Because if you don't get it, it's a 3-point game. They tie it with a field goal. They need a touchdown then.
Oof, they bid on it bad.
And how do you know that's a possibility?
For those that are wondering what we're talking about, it's the Lions. It's the Lions game, Lion Commanders game. It's 4th and 2.
I want the command. I mean,
Daniels ran an end around, and the Lions defense bit badly on it.
How about the spread being 8.5? Ooh,
man, guys, Aaron Glenn is going to be our head coach tomorrow. Oh, there's Kingsbury.
He looks like the prototypical guy that would just fail like all hell in New York.
Yeah.
Sorry. He's the pretty boy in the room. Joe Cat knows what I'm talking about.
Hire McCown ASAP because the rest of the guys are horrible. Just can't hire a DC that is ranked 18th the last 2 years because he is a good DC when your offense puts up 45 a game. I get it. I am for McCown. And you kind of missed it before, Joe. I was saying, if there's anybody in the league that I think could evaluate a quarterback after watching him on tape for 5 minutes, it would probably be Josh McCown because he's done it he's been a quarterback for so long. And
I wonder what his offense would look like.
I don't know. The best thing he has going for him is that he rehabilitated Sam Darnold. That's the best thing that
he was also here with Sam.
Right.
You put any credit into that?
What do you mean?
Like he was here with Sam Darnold when he was, yeah.
Well, yeah, of course.
I'm shocked because he's a former player. He's made a ton of money. A lot of those guys who make absolute ton of money, they just don't want to get into coaching. You sail off into the sunset.
No.
Wasn't Josh McCown's daughter Sam Darnold's age?
I have no idea.
Joseph agrees with us. Josh McCown. Yeah, bro. Yeah. I agree. That's where I'd be at.
Sharon, we said it before, and maybe you missed it. It was said by Schefter on ESPN that McCown is not leaving Minnesota for an offensive coordinator position. He will only leave Minnesota for a head coaching job.
Right.
So it's not you're not going to have a situation where like Glenn's the head coach, McCown's the offensive coordinator. It's just not going to happen.
Here's my biggest fear.
What?
My biggest fear is Woody Johnson's involved and he's trying to force a GM to hire a certain coach that he likes. Maybe it's McCown. Maybe there's GMs out there that say, you know what? He's never called a play in his life. He's only been a QB coach. I want somebody different. Like, think about it. Could that be a reason why a GM wouldn't come here? I mean, don't put it past them. Remember years ago when they tried to hire Matt Rule, they wouldn't allow Matt Rule to choose his own staff, so they let him go and he went to the Panthers.
And I hope that they
from Baylor.
learned their lesson from that crap.
Woody doesn't learn. Woody's never wrong.
Wait, wasn't McCown in Chris Johnson's wedding party?
Was he? I don't know.
Yeah, we were talking about that in
what outer
this
space?
this morning's huddle space. Chris Johnson got married in 2018 to some finance executive.
2018, isn't he like in the 70s?
And McCown was in the wedding party. Everybody loves Chris Johnson.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Everybody loves Chris Johnson.
I remember reading a report. It was a couple months ago, and they said everybody likes Chris Johnson more than Woody Johnson.
Right.
But even though Chris Johnson hired
even
Joe
Aaron,
Douglas, so.
Even Aaron Rodgers, like, oh, you had lunch or you had dinner with Mr. Johnson, with Woody Johnson. He's like the wrong Johnson.
Wow.
You think they're going to go for it again?
Oh, yeah. If you're going for a 4th and 2 from out there, you're going to go for 4th and 2 at the goal line. Yeah. Because this is probably what they're thinking right now. If we don't get it, they have to drive 98 yards to take the lead.
You know, I watch these teams. I tweeted it last week, but I watch these teams in the playoffs, and then it just seems like we're so far away from being anywhere near competitive.
We don't have a young quarterback or anything. Oh, delay game. Yep. Now you got to kick it. You're not going for 4th and 7, right? Got to make it a touchdown game here.
How do you do that? I never understand this. Even with Aaron Rodgers, at quarterback, how on a 4th and short?
I think they're going to go for it. You got to call a timeout then.
Right. How do you take a delay of game penalty?
Wait, hold on. Oh, you know what? Detroit had 12 guys on the field. Did they call? Oh, that's what they did. What? I think.
Oh, it was 12 men on the field?
Hold on. I don't know. Everyone's clapping and stuff.
They just counted it off on the screen here. I'm watching it. There's 12 men on the field.
Oh, yeah. It's a first down. Yeah. So they did get delay a game, but it was 12 men on the field. Snap was imminent.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Oh,
that's Aaron Glenn's defense for you. Aaron Glenn's defense.
I understand Washington's good, but that was a whoa. If he reaches his left arm out, that's a touchdown.
Look, in reality, in Aaron Glenn's defense,
Turbulence is very close to Christopher.
Yeah. In Aaron Glenn's defense, like,
there it is.
Outside of winning the Super Bowl, right? Detroit was going to lose at some point. And if you lose a playoff game and you end up with someone dropping 38 points on you at this point, it's going to look bad on you no matter what. Right? Outside of winning the Super Bowl, they were going to lose at some point during the playoffs, and he was going to become available because of a loss, because of his fault of a loss.
Well, losing to a rookie quarterback. Come on. Giving up 31 points in the first half. I mean, he didn't. I want to say that. But they gave up a lot. I mean, you have 1 pick 6. So they've given up 31 points in 3 quarters.
Salah can't call a timeout. Aaron can't count to 11. Perfect transition higher.
Put that on a t-shirt. We'll give Joe some of the proceeds.
Oh, man.
What are we going to do, Pat?
And to think,
so undesirable.
This Detroit team was this close to going to the Super Bowl if you just had a few different decisions on 4th downs that Dan Campbell made.
How about Goff doing Goff, though? That is why the Rams got rid of him when they did, because No matter what, how great he was in the regular season, Sean McVay, the great Sean McVay, always knew he had limitations, and it was the playoffs against the better teams. If you ever watch Goff, Goff has an absolute cannon for an arm.
Right.
Do not hire Aaron Glenn. You have to think. With this roster, we can be competitive with a real head coach, which a lot of people say that. There's a lot of talent here. I don't know if we're overrating it as fans, but oh, by the way, all the Jet fans trolling the Texans because we took Sauce Gardner. Derek Stingley's an All-Pro this year. Just
I think it's a win-win for both teams. Sauce had a down year, but I think they're both really good players.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we can compete because this roster is, the roster is competitive on paper. Coaching matters in the NFL, but we said it before, the money doesn't make sense. They're going to have to blow it up. I do not want to be paying Aaron Rodgers all the way out to 2029.
I know.
Just because we wanted him as our quarterback for 2025.
Well, what if the right coach comes in here and says, I'm not into tanking. I want to play to win next year? That is a factor that you have to think about.
It's more likely that the team will fall on its face again and will be in this situation again in 3 years, looking for a head coach.
Oh,
you have to give this regime time.
Brees Hall,
you have to give. Well, go ahead.
Dialing that poopy emoji up. Cliff is dialing that poopy emoji up. Maybe they know something. It would take a lot of money. This is the issue. For the Jets to be successful with a coach, they're going to have to give out a crazy contract to a GM and a crazy contract to a head coach. That's
because the organization is perceived as a circus or as a joke. The damage that those athletic articles did to Woody Johnson's wallet is immense. If you are a first-time GM or a first-time head coach, why would you want to come here? You hear all of these stories of him meddling, of him using Madden ratings to judge players, to having non-football executives sitting in on football meetings and then them going off and having sidebar meetings, and then Woody coming back and telling the team certain decisions. Woody Johnson telling Robert Saleh bench Tony Adams. I didn't even know that Woody knew who the hell Tony Adams was.
I don't know what was that story. What was that story?
Knew that for some reason he wanted Tony Adams benched. We never understood why.
Probably saw him get burnt on one play or something.
Yeah.
How about this?
The best roster he's had in 25 years. Not a single Pro Bowler.
Washington.
Woody doesn't know what he's
looking at. The Lions have given up 377 yards of offense.
Jesus. You could see it when Goff drops back. He's got Sam Darnold's feet right now.
Well, he also might be concussed. Let's be real. He got.
I saw that hit.
After that pick six.
Yep. I'll tell you this right now.
Crusher.
I'll tell you this right now. If it is Aaron Glenn, the NYJ Matt I'm coming home video is going to hit like cocaine.
Oh my gosh, look what's going on, Pat.
What? Little razzle dazzle?
Ben Johnson, what the fuck are you doing?
Intercepted.
Flag.
Oh, okay.
Ben Johnson, what are you doing?
I saw a video today.
Doing? How many times are you going to try to throw the ball down the field, Pat? Now you got your running back throwing it 30 yards?
Ben Johnson looks terrible in this game. Aaron Glenn
ineligible.
Looks
it's going to stand. It's going to stand. What are you doing, Ben Johnson?
Ineligible man down. No, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to stand the pick.
Wow.
What are you doing?
He's
Ben
looking for
Johnson.
anything at this point. Do you remember the last?
Look at this. He's on the run. No feet, no nothing. Just throws it up there. It's a double cut. What the heck are you doing?
Because he's not a quarterback. He doesn't know what he's looking at. He doesn't know what
But
he's
that's
throwing
on
to.
Ben Johnson. Bro, you're supposed to be one of those elite coordinators. What the heck's going on today? Your quarterback is suffering. You're having your running back throw the ball 30 yards down the field. Good. Maybe he'll come to us now.
This makes the 33rd team look really good, though.
Yeah, they're like never had interest. You know?
But I'm telling you, this makes the 33rd team look really good. They put together this Washington coaching staff. They put together this front office for them.
So I guess TikTok's done, supposedly. It was a side
Which
note.
is really annoying because
my wife just texted me because she's like, I get all my recipes from there.
You know, it's fun. I think someone will buy it, honestly.
Yeah.
But for those of you that are wondering, our largest following is on TikTok.
By far.
By far. For some reason, maybe it's
people like to look at Pat's face on TikTok over in Asia, I guess.
Where's over in Asia? Where's the comment from Joe Cat? Right there. For some reason, Joe Cat loves my eyes.
What I just say?
Maybe that's why the people on our TikTok following.
And I heard that the LA Asian Dodgers also love TikTok.
I think that the ban is honestly retarded. VPNs exist. It like you're not gonna stop.
But remember,
anybody who honestly knows what they're doing will be able to get the TikTok. It's not. This isn't difficult.
But TikTok is different in other countries. Every country it's different. There's restrictions. Like Brazil, you can only look at government stuff. In China, you can only look at educational videos.
So you set it to London and you over to TikTok. It's the same shit.
All of a sudden, there's
gonna be nobody outside of the U.S. that's gonna care about Jet stuff.
Don't ever say anything bad about them though over there.
What? About
no,
the
they'll
Jets?
come lock you up. No, they'll come lock you up in London.
Oh.
Ben Johnson a lock to go to the Jags from Joe. I agree. I don't know why.
Listen,
though.
use the same. Hold on, wait. Use the same argument you're using for Aaron Glenn for Ben Johnson right now. They both look like shit tonight.
Yeah.
Keep it 100. If Aaron Glenn looks like shit, Ben Johnson looks like shit.
Yo, this is wild. Aaron Glenn's defense officially giving up 450 yards to a rookie quarterback. Yo, this is right up the middle, too.
Listen, if the 33rd team did this for Washington, the 33rd team can do it for the Jets. I am done being negative.
Yeah, all we need is a second overall pick.
Positive Pat for now on. Okay, we are the offseason champs. We're going to be back-to-back offseason champs.
3-peat like the Chiefs.
4-peat. We've already got.
Yeah, we got one up on the Chiefs.
Man. But like you said, like we are honestly looking not to compete maybe until 2027, right?
I know.
In your ideal world, in my ideal world, right?
And that's a best case scenario.
Right. We're
if they get the
next year
wrong. Arch Manning is not, I'm telling you right now, Pat. Arch Manning right now is not everything he's made out to be. Everybody hears Manning, so they think automatic greatness. It's not.
I don't know what that 26 QB class is going to look like. People were so high on Drew Aller, and now he's kind of fallen off. It depends on how these guys develop, and it depends on who their coach really is. So I don't know what's going to happen in 26, but we do know that this year is obviously not the time to take a quarterback because there just aren't any decent ones out there. So the plan is to tank next year, take someone high in 2026, and then maybe compete in 2027, which means 15, 16, 17 possible years of playoff drought. 17 years. I'm 37 years old.
Yeah, you're old.
The Jets haven't been to the playoffs.
I was in high
since
school.
I was 23.
I was in high school. I'm in my 30s with a family now.
I was barely able to drink. I was just, God.
I will say this. I'm wondering if
I've
there's.
been with my wife longer than the Jets have been in a playoff drought.
I've been with my wife 13 years. I met her my freshman year of college.
Ugh. It's funny. I saw my father was in the chat on Facebook. I blame him for all of this.
Yeah,
So
same
dad,
here.
if you're still watching it, this is all your fucking fault. Absolutely. From the get-go. I remember my first game was either 93 or 9. What was the first year they got Ronnie Lott? Was that 93?
Oh, the great Ronnie Lott.
Hold on. When did Ronnie Lott become a Jet? I think
Yeah,
it was either
Jerome,
93 or 94.
I've been a Jet fan since 65. How do you you know what, Jerome? You got a Super Bowl. I don't want to hear anything.
Yeah, but he was 4.
I don't give a crap. You still have a Super Bowl. You went to school, to kindergarten, wearing your Namath jersey, and everybody know what was up. All right.
1993. My first game was the home opener in 1993 in Giant Stadium. And it was a big deal because they had just gotten Ronnie Lott. I'm from Long Island. Boomer Esiason was the quarterback. Hometown. I'm from the same
Oh,
town
Jerome
as
said he
him.
was 11. How are you 11? They won in 68, 69.
Oh, wait, he probably started
Oh,
watching in
yeah.
65.
Yeah, I don't hear anything from you. No, thanks, Jerome. Look, I'm a Mets, Jets, Nets, Islanders fan. I'm 32. I've never seen any of my teams win anything. And I am as diehard as anybody. We run MetCast Pod. We have that. If you're a Mets fan, follow us over there. Even them, they're doing this short stick. They get Juan Soto, and it's like, all right, we're good. Let everyone else walk, and we're just going to run it back.
The
Got our asses
closest.
kicked by the Dodgers.
That's why 2015 was so fun for both of us, because it's the first time we've actually seen our team get there.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. And
I
not
can't
too
believe
long.
this-
And the Jets were close only a couple years prior, so you felt like you had a little momentum.
4th and 2. They're going for it again. Up 10.
And of course, they got it easily.
Will you stop?
Oh, sorry.
God.
Pretty much, it's Terry McLaurin playing one-on-one with the air.
Man, it's over.
Aaron
The
Glenn,
Commanders put together by the 33rd team are going to the NFC Championship game. Can you believe that? Unbelievable.
And they'll be facing the winner of
Rams Eagles. Now, I think the Rams. Listen,
are going to get steamrolled. Oh, but you know what?
I don't know about that. Listen,
Paul Riley told me. Paul Riley, who I hope sees this, said the Detroit Lions are going to steamroll Washington. I don't think it's going to be close. Turns out they're going to cover by double. My God. It's an 18-point game.
Listen, talking about.
Imagine you took the 8.5. You took the 8.5. You lost by 26.5 points. Oh, he's in.
Listen, I will not be surprised if the Rams win. Look,
Steve just texted the group chat. The way this is going, hiring the Washington's DC is going to be better than hiring Glenn.
Yeah.
Yo, Glenn's defense got absolutely annihilated tonight by a rookie quarterback. Yo, shout out to Mark Malusis. He comes on our shows. He's been a diehard Commanders fan for forever, in the abyss with us, and he's finally got it. You know what? I'm gonna message him right now. Like, you want to come on our show Wednesday night and gloat?
Matt Stafford and Sean McVay have done in the play. They are 5-1 in the playoffs. Did you know that? Stafford and McVay,
Really?
they're 5-1 in the playoffs. And they are going to come to play. I will not be surprised if they win tomorrow. And Jake Ellenbogen is going to be out of his mind.
You think the Rams will?
I think the Rams have a good shot.
Connor Hughes just said the Lions have absolutely no answer on defense. Washington has whatever they want. Alarming performance. This might end up a blowout after all. Well, it already is. It's an 18-point game with what?
But how long ago did how long ago did he tweet that?
6 minutes.
So my question to you, hey, so you texted me before. What was that? In the Chiefs game, they covered the spread with that safety.
Yes, and I had the Texans. The spread was 9.5. I put a buck on it, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to lose, and my streak's going to be over of winning, which is going to end tonight because I had Detroit money line." I turned the game off. I thought it was over. I was upstairs with the baby. My dad calls me and says, way to cover. I said, "What are you talking about?" I thought he was besting with me. I turn it on, and yeah, those 2 points. And from what I saw, it was like 80% were taking the Chiefs.
Really?
So you're talking tens of millions of dollars swapped up. Your camera's out. Tens of millions of dollars.
Oh,
your camera's out.
Yeah, hold on.
Tens of millions of dollars swapped hands. That's just, John, is that your dad, John Dunn? Hey, you're raising your kids as that's fan.
What the hell happened to my camera?
That's funny. Mr. McMoney, who wants Glenn now? It's one game, but it's alarming to say the least. Jaden Daniels is special, but I mean, to give up 450. How many yards did they give up? 450. I'll say a little under that. We'll go with 420. I'll say. Let's see team stats. 448 yards, 279 passing. Detroit, who's supposed to be the badass defense, 169 yards running. And the most alarming, 26 first downs.
Really?
26 first downs. And Detroit's got 1 sack. You know Washington doesn't have a sack this game?
Not one?
I assume that, yeah, it says Washington 0, Detroit 1, unless that sack's given up.
Woody Johnson hacking the stream.
Yeah, get these guys off.
It could be, I don't know. I got to look at it. It could be a power issue with I have the power cable plugged into the camera, but I've had this happen before where the camera just like all of a sudden cuts out. I hope that's not the issue. I made sure it was plugged in, but it shouldn't just.
Oh, you were good for the first hour.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
Oh, what's it charged?
It's not. It obviously there's a battery in it, but it's permanently plugged into the outlet. So I'm not sure unless it went into like a sleep mode or something after an hour.
Here's where Goff's going to get all his stats, and he's going to look like he had an okay game.
Right.
You know what's wild? The Lions have 437 yards of offense. They got 4 turnovers. That's the whole game right there. They're gonna surpass Washington's offense. Now with that first down, they're tied for first downs. The Lions have 192 yards rushing. Goff, another 15 yards. He passes Daniels in passing.
This is how you end up with situations with bad football teams ending up with quarterbacks that have good stats.
Right. That's why I don't want to hear about Aaron Rodgers and his great year. Because in the fourth quarter, and we're down 20, and teams are letting them dot them up because they're just letting them do it to pass time by. You can't go off of that.
How sad is it that this season, as far as passing yards is concerned, it's the third most yards by a Jets quarterback ever in the history of the team. That's
he
how
didn't beat out
deplorable. That's
Ryan
how
Fitzpatrick,
horrendous.
right?
No, I think Ryan Fitzpatrick was 2. I'm going to check that right now. But that's how deplorable that the Jets quarterback play has been over their entire career.
And you know what's the worst part about it, Pat? You're going to get a lot of fans, including myself. It's going to be hard. I'm not saying I won't be interested. I'll be locked in and watching, but you're looking to get a quarterback in next year's draft. So you're going to go in and you're going to enter the season. What are you going to root against your team entering the season? How does that even work?
I don't know.
So you might root against them the entire season. You still end up with the 4th pick and don't get your guy.
I have it on career. I got to go single season. Come on, computer. Okay, so yeah, Namath is number 1, 4,007 yards. That's how sad it is. Our Joe Namath in 1967 threw 4,007 yards, and he still leads the league. Quarterbacks routinely now go over 4,000 yards constantly, and we play 3 more games than Joe Namath did. If Joe Namath played a 17-game season, he was on track for 800 yards that season. Fitzpatrick is number 2, 39.05. And Aaron Rodgers is 3rd, 38.97.
Your mic keeps going, Pat. Your mic keeps going like this. Like
it's because I'm going like this.
Down.
It's because I'm turning my head.
Yeah, when you come back, it's really loud. This must be adjusting to you.
Ken O'Brien in what year?
Yo, who took the over?
85 is 3888.
There's over 5 minutes left, and you have 45, 55, 65, 73 points scored in this game. And if they score here, put up 7, you have 80 points scored in the game. Yo, Gibbs is ridiculously quick. His agility is insane.
Let's be real. If I had come to you before the season started, let's say I came to you before the season started and I said, with the roster that we have, and you add in Devontae Adams, you add in Hassan Reddick, and Aaron Rodgers was going to play the whole season. Honest to God, how many wins would you say we would have had?
I know. I don't know. Why the hell are the Lions kicking a field goal down 18? What are they down? Okay.
Now they're down.
I
can't math.
What was the score? 31-45.
They're down 14.
Yep. So you got to get 2 onside kicks.
Crazier things have happened. But what a way for them to go out, man. Making Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn look just absolutely horrendous.
You know, people are going to say, well, look at Ben Johnson. He had great stats. We'll disregard the 4 turnovers. That's what happens. We all know that.
Like, I think Aaron Glenn is that last interview where he was talking about how he is a coach of the whole team. It comes off to me as a guy who knows he's got the job. That's just how
he
it
just
struck
knows
me.
what to say. That's more how I view that. He knows what to say.
I just don't like the idea of hiring a coach before the GM. They've got to get a GM in here, and he's got to be in on these second round interviews.
Well, Woody's the only owner that really has that shotgun marriage.
Right, and it never works.
Never.
It never works. I'm not so hung up on that like triangle reporting structure, right? Where the GM and the head coach are kind of on the same level and they can report up to the owner. I'm not so hung up on that because there are teams out there in the NFL that do it successfully and have been doing it for a very long time. So I'm not hung up on that. But I want the GM to have a say in who he's working with, more so than I want the coach having a say about who he's working for.
You see our little JetCast group chat?
No. The group chat or the text?
The text. And I had to crack myself.
It must be the eyes.
I agree. See, I'm gonna put that in the chat too.
Nobody in the stream knows what we're talking about.
No, I'll tell you one thing. That little group chat we have going on, one of the funniest things ever. I'll say this: who wants King? I'll tell you this: put a 1 in the chat right now if you want Kingsbury for the next coach. My God. Oh my gosh.
Did they get it? Don't say anything. What? Nope, they didn't get it. Oh, they did get it.
No, they didn't. They're saying it looks like they
No, they
have
didn't
it, but
get
they're
it.
saying Washington's got it. What was
No,
he?
Washington
He was
had it.
trying to let that go out of bounds. Look, he could have
don't
grabbed it
know.
right. Oh, the Lions player swatted it. Oh yeah, they got it. Why would you try to stand up with that ball?
Right. Yeah, just go to the ground.
John Dunn, I totally agree with you. That's why I've always called Pat the IT guy. You could ask him. I've been saying it for 4 years now. I always call him the failed IT guy of JetCast. So, what? We're stuck with him. Some type of contract obligation thing, but, outside of that.
Yeah. Listen, if people are waiting for Cliff Kingsbury, they're going to wait a while, or at least one more week. I mean, maybe that's what's hanging up the Jets. They want to talk to Cliff Kingsbury.
I'll tell you right now, if the Rams somehow win, you might get your first ever rookie quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Once you're in there, it's anyone's game.
No, listen. If the Rams win tomorrow, Matt Stafford has something in the playoffs. I said it before. He's 5-1 in the playoffs. 5-1.
Well, that's because he's also only been there with McVay.
It works. Look, if they win, if they beat the Eagles.
Well, 5-1 because they had a Super Bowl run. Let's not forget that. I mean,
that's true.
And then outside of that, they lost. Well, except for the first game this year.
Man, Jaden Daniels is so freaking good.
First rookie all time with 300 plus yards in 2 postseason games.
Damn.
If you're the Giants right now, how crappy do you feel?
Oh, total yards, 300 plus total yards. He's at 279 passing.
Oh. Do they pass it? Do they dare?
No. Glenn's defense looking suspect. Yeah.
Suspect.
I don't know how. I don't know. Again, though, I don't know if it's how much of it is on him and how much is it on there are 9 guys out. I don't know.
Well, I think you can't blame
how
that
much.
Anymore
How much is
they
it?
Played well without him.
How much is it him being able to play with a lead? Right. Oh, it did it again. Oh, yeah.
That's why I got the cheap camera.
That's why you have a webcam and not a real camera.
It's the only one that records in 4K. Bro, I totally agree with you, Jeff fan for life. Very sus. This is not encouraging. And it's not even, obviously the Washington's a solid. Oh my gosh, they're still going down the field. There's your 300.
All right. I think we're going to end it.
All right.
Worried that my camera's going to cut out again. Probably dead for some reason. I have to figure that out. But thanks for hanging out with us, everybody.
Yeah, I appreciate you all.
again, like I said, I watch these games and I just think we're so far off from being anywhere competitive, anywhere close to this. And we're not going to be realistically winning anything or being competitive, I think, until at least 2027. And that if they get the right quarterback in 2026. 14, 15, 16, 17 years of pain it's going to be. It's an interesting thing being a Jets fan. It really is.
Yep. All right, everybody. Until next time, we'll catch you on the flip. Take care.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.